We're out and about today with another classy old Ford truck, and surprisingly enough, I don't even own this one. This truck belongs to some good friends of mine. This is a 1979 Ford F250, 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive. It's rocking a 351 modified with a 4-speed manual behind it. It's a pretty good looking truck. It's got a lot going for it. It's actually a Ranger XLT package. So, back in 1979 when this thing was ordered up by whoever originally ordered it, they threw a lot of options on it. So it's got quite a bit of class and everything going on as far as trim and extra little details and emblems and stuff like that, which we'll kind of get into and show off here in a minute. But for now, we'll just go ahead and walk around this thing, show it off to you guys. Now, back in early November, we went and rescued this truck from a property locally, and it had been sitting since 2007. That was the last time it had been tagged, so that's what we figure for how long it's been sitting and not running. So a little bit of time. So we trailered it over to my shop and then played around with it a little bit. It fired right up relatively easily and actually drove right off the trailer, so that's always a bonus when that happens. So, when they drive right off the trailer and everything seems fine, you got to go out and test them anyway, so we did that. And yeah, for the most part, most everything just started working on this thing, and it didn't really show that it needed a whole lot other than it just needed some cosmetic work. Back then it was missing the front bumper and a headlight bezel and stuff like that. The turn signals didn't want to work completely, just little tiny tedious stuff like that. So we put it in my shop and spent a couple days improving on it. We actually found a parts truck to rob some cosmetic stuff from, so we threw a front bumper on it from that and some lenses and lights, and just basically got everything working. Went through the truck as far as gear oil and grease and all that goes. And other than that, it's really not had much mechanical work, and for the most part it's been a daily driver ever since over the winter, and it's been a good truck for them. But the thing's starting to show that it wants a little more TLC, so they're going to let me play around with it for a while and do some work. And in the meantime, we'll make some videos on it at the same time, so you guys get to enjoy along the way and see this thing get spruced up even more. But yeah, it's a good truck. I enjoy this one. I definitely like the 351M with the 4-speed behind it. You don't really see that combo a whole lot, especially for 78, 79 trucks. They're usually half tons, but a 3/4 ton with a 4-speed and being 4-wheel drive is pretty cool. So, it's a neat one. And here we are under the hood checking out the 351. Now, since this truck is, late 70s, right before going into the 1980s, obviously, that's when vehicles started to get heavily choked out with emissions, and all the smog pumps and all that stuff was being put on whatever, and carburetors were getting detuned. So this truck, for the most part, has all of that stuff still on it, the canisters and all the vacuum lines and stuff like that. So, it's got some vacuum leaks. We're going to go through that kind of stuff and, spruce it up, tidy it up, rip out the stuff that isn't really needed anymore, that kind of stuff. And actually what the truck's really needing right now, priority wise, is it's wanting a carburetor rebuild. The accelerator pump is shot, so it's starting to show signs of that. Now the 2-barrel, it's a Motorcraft 2150, which is the emissioned out version of the 2100. accelerator pump leaks, but the carburetor looks relatively clean, so it may be, you know, all right inside, but we're going to go ahead and clean it up anyways, throw a whole kit in it so we know it's good for a nice long while and should be nice and trouble free. So we're going to go ahead and do that as one of the first things. And then you know, once that's taken care of, like I said, clean up vacuum lines, stuff like that. When you've got vacuum leaks, you know, open hoses and whatnot, that introduces unfiltered air into your intake system, which you don't want that. You want it to be going through your air cleaner only, being filtered so the motor gets nice clean air. And then another issue with that, it also leans your motor out, so it's going to mess with your tuning. You know, you've got more air, and it causes a lean condition, and lean conditions actually make things run hotter. So, you know, that's something to avoid as well and consider. So we're going to clean it up, make it right. It ought to run way better, even though the thing runs pretty darn good as is, surprisingly. But, you know, we'll get her all spruced up for them and everything. So that's kind of what we're looking at under the hood here, mechanical wise. It's going to need valve cover gaskets. They leak quite a bit, so, you know, probably end up doing that and whatnot. It's got some new parts on it, you know, as far as charging system goes. And yeah, I mean, pretty much everything just works on the thing. It's been a good truck so far. Power steering, it's got the typical, you know, late 70s Ford power steering issues. It whines and moans and makes all the noises and everything. You know, it's just got a supercharger. That's what you got to accept on them. But, you know, we'll get her situated. But that's what we're looking like under the hood. Still needs some cosmetic work. These mirrors are not too, you know, happy. We'll get those figured out. Now, the interior is really nice, and I really dig the green colors going on, you know, the door panels. And since it's a Ranger XLT package, we've got wood grain trim and dash pieces going on. Super cool looking, you know, a little bit fancier than a base model truck. And, you know, trim and headliner and all that. The gun rack, of course, that looks great in here. And something we were kind of marveling over was the seat cover. You know, I've never seen a seat cover that's got the green touches on it. So, you know, that's cool. You can tell it's an older one because, you know, it's actually made with quality. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and it definitely matches the truck perfectly. It's actually got, you know, shoulder belts instead of just plain old lap belts. But, you know, in here, it's not too bad. Carpet's good, floors are good. The truck is very minimal on rust. Basically, the worst of it is over the wheels back here on the bed. But other than the dents and everything, it's a nice solid truck. But other things we're going to work on, you know, it's got loose panels and stuff, and, you know, just things like that. The messy wiring going on from other people adding in auxiliary stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and clean all that up, make it look nice, that kind of thing. You know, just piddle away at little details like that. The visor up here is missing its little pin deal to hold it up there, and weather stripping is starting to fall out in some spots, so we'll glue that back up and make sure it stays put and keeps the doors sealed up. But yeah, I mean, she's a good solid truck. You know, you gotta love the old Ford doors here. Cannot beat those. Worst of the body damage is this door. She's you know, dented and pushed in pretty good. I thought about, you know, maybe trying to get that out. Not sure yet. We'll see what happens with it. The door still shuts good though. She's good and happy that way, at least. But yeah, nice rockers and everything. Some more of the features going on. And yeah, another detail is it's an AC truck, so you get all the vents and everything with that, which is cool. And then the extra features on the climate control. And yeah, something else I noticed about this truck is that is a very tight and smooth shifting 4-speed. It's actually one of the better ones I've ever driven, so that's cool to experience for once, rather than something that's worn out. So, you know, I don't know how many miles are on the thing accurately, but maybe it's had transmission work. It kind of feels like it's had a clutch put in it. The pressure plate feels, you know, new. So yeah, you know, it's had some work over the years. Somebody cared about it at one point before, you know, it started sitting around or being used for a work truck. We kind of theorized that it was a plow truck at one point, but not certain on that. We ended up putting another back window in it from the parts truck. This truck had a slider back glass, and you know, those never last or stay together, so they kind of fall apart. So we threw this back window in it. That definitely made a huge difference in how the truck looks and feels and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's come a long ways from how it was when we picked it up. And more details to the whole Ranger XLT package is this trim going on, you know, in the dent side, and then down and over the wheel openings. And then I believe the rear cargo light on the cab, that's also a touch for Ranger XLT stuff. And I believe even these tie downs are. I'm not certain on that, but they might be. I'm pretty sure. But if somebody knows, you can comment down below and correct me, but that's just my guess on it. I like the bumper that's set up here. Somebody really tied in a nice tow package on that. You know, it's got hooks and everything, and it's all braced up and nice. So that's a cool feature to have on it. And she's rocking some good old school Goodyear Workhorse tires. Those were great tires. It's too bad they don't really make them anymore. But these are in pretty decent shape, actually. They've got some good life left on them. They're not too checked up or anything. Looks like a couple of them need some air, which we'll take care of. But yeah, they're pretty good. Nice to see. But yeah, that's kind of the whole story on the truck. That's what we're going to be getting into on it. I think for the whole carburetor rebuild and whatever else we do to this thing will be separate videos. So we'll just keep this one pertaining to showing the truck off and telling you guys about it. So, you know, basically all that's left now is let's fire it up and show you how it runs. You know, really, for needing an accelerator pump, that's pretty good. But nice sounding truck. Dual exhaust, so that's pretty nice. Supercharger, full swing. There we go, got her in the shop now, so I can go ahead and get started on rebuilding the carburetor and working on tidying up stuff under the hood. So stay tuned for that. We're going to go ahead and dive into making another video as soon as I end this one, so you guys will get to see the work that goes on with this thing. So yeah, let me know what you think about this truck. Drop a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. And yeah, I always read your comments, so appreciate that. Don't forget, check out the merch store. Link is down below in the description. And until the next video, I will see you guys later.